Okay, welcome teacher friends. Thank you so much for joining us today and sorry for the little technical delay at the beginning. And as we know, when things don't work, we have to have patience. We have to have perseverance, right? But at the same time, it's great to walk it through of understanding of how to understand where that technology is not working. So let's make this full screen so that you can see this. I'm very grateful today that all of you had joined me and taking just time out of your busy life to learn about some strategies today about work-life balance with technology, but really finding your inner calling and your purpose as an educator, but also to give back to your family. So that's why we're here today. So even my title slide, does some of this look like yours? Meaning that you've got to get back like messages with 3 individuals. You need to go grocery shopping. You may need to go to the pharmacy. You need to make an appointment for maybe an automobile. But then at the same time, you have to create all these lessons for your students to support the remote teaching and learning during the pandemic. You also need to give feedback. There's so much going on in our lives. So how do we find balance? So I'm going to give you some tips and tricks on that today. And as you know, my name is Naomi Harm. I am joining you from beautiful Cave Creek, Arizona. It's about 40 miles north of Phoenix. And Phoenix is the 5th largest city in the United States. But in my area where I live, the population is about 5,000 people, and we absolutely love it. So again, I do a lot with women in leadership, coaching, speaking, and mentoring, and especially girls when it comes to STEM. And I love all of the STEM techniques, tools, and resources to help our students be creators of their futures. Once again, the slide deck is here for you today, and I've added it to the back channel chat. Please pay special attention that the link below, the bit.ly, has a dot between the T and the L. So it's bit.ly/work-life-tech-balance. So that is there, and I'll also include it at the end so that you can have the resources today. So let's get started. Right away, we're here to talk about balance in your life when it comes to family, when it comes to your life in general, but also your school and workplace load of an organization or a school district that you may work for. But what we're finding in this time of the pandemic is that we're asked to do more with less resources, less funding, and less time for ourselves to maintain a healthy balance. And this pandemic, we don't know how it's going to turn out. In the United States, as some of you have seen, the numbers are staggering. And it's really sad because there's some people that are not taking it very serious. But those of us that are, like myself, I've been home for almost 4 months. I've only been out of my house 3 times in 4 months, but have been extremely cautious. And because of that, I want to make sure that everybody around me is safe and our children are safe. So by us modeling, that's a strategy in general by modeling that best practice. But you know, with so much that we're doing, our school district administrators and others are asking us to do more with technology. And for some of us, the technology may come easier than others, but sometimes the technology is just so frustrating. And when we're on it all the time, our brain becomes so overwhelmed with too much information. So we have to find appropriate balance. Now, does your day look like this sometimes? Like today is June 24th. You have to remember, oh, did I forget this? Did I do this? Did I follow up with this person? Did I follow up with this family and students? And sometimes it adds to so much undue stress. So we become panicked. We become overwhelmed. We can't focus. We have a hard time designing and creating a product now because we're too overwhelmed with too much information. And then we're asked to do more. More meaning maybe I have to create new lessons for learning for remote teaching and learning. I also have to maybe fill out, in the United States, we have a grant base that we can fill out a donors choose idea to help fund student supplies because some of our education is not funded appropriately. And then of all things, teacher friends, we forget about us. Us meaning our health, our wellness, and our overall well-being to support our families. Because of that, we forget to even do our own health checkups. And that's what they say that leads to a lot of causes of health-related illnesses because we don't take care of ourselves. So I'm going to give you some strategies today that actually have worked for me when I have become so overwhelmed with technology and it's hard for me to find balance. So let's look at the big picture here. How do we find life balance when it comes to our career as an educator, including our family, that we're present with them and that we give them purposeful time to actively listen, to understand, and truly value those life moments that we have? How do we prioritize our health? And how do we still stay socially connected to our friends so we don't feel like we're isolated? Those are really, really important indicators that we have to find a healthy balance, but a creative balance to still socially connect. So let's look at this. Happiness. I truly choose happiness. I have become so overwhelmed in my 25 years of teaching, and I'm thinking I'm stressing out over nothing sometimes. I have to help myself prioritize. And prioritization means I have to find happiness first and foremost and choose my tasks based on how it's making me feel happy, how it's also going to make others feel, and also if it's going to be an important lesson that I design to truly connect, reach, and empathize with the students or teachers that I'm working with. Now, here's something that I use that helps me strategize. This is called a personalized professional goal setting template. I use this personally, and I have this personalized for myself, but it's for our personal and professional goals. And it helps me be more reflective on actually my achievements, my setbacks, or my challenges that even if I've had when I look past even the past 3 to 4 weeks, because I need to celebrate those moments that I've actually have gained new knowledge, connected the learning dots, but also shared information of success of my stories or my family members. I start each day with a moment of gratitude. And a moment of gratitude is what is going to be my purpose today? What are my steps of action that I'm going to take to making sure that it's purposeful and as not to overwhelm myself? I also identify with values. What's important to me that's going to make a difference with others? And at the same time, I focus on small, snackable, content-sized chunks of information. And why I say small is because we have all of this information coming at us. And when we are teaching as a teacher, and we're constantly giving all this new information to our students, they too are so overwhelmed and so stressed. So smaller is better here, where smaller pieces of information should be delivered. And then in return, children can process, can reflect on that, and make more meaningful and deeper gains of information. Now, your 7 steps reflection goal planner may not look like mine, but this is something that helps me with small bits of pieces of information to making sure I stay on track, but I'm also reflecting daily in my learning. Some other pieces of information that you may want to reflect on is organization is key when it comes to finding a healthy balance with yourself as a teacher and being very creatively productive in your job or workplace environment. Not all of us is organization a strength. For me, I love organization. I love detail. But if you're not highly organized, I'm going to give you a couple quick steps to help you so that your workflow during the day doesn't seem so overwhelming. Now, this is called the power of a Post-it. So how many of you are avid Post-it users, meaning a small piece of paper, it may have a sticky back on it, and then you actually can jot things down? So just take a moment to reflect in the back channel chat. How many of you are Post-it note users, and what's a creative use that you have found to use them with? As you're reflecting in the back channel chat, I'm going to go over to my other device and tap into the actual back channel chat area to see what you're chatting about. Okay. Yeah, some of you said, yes, I use them. Yeah, and share with me more. How do you use Post-its creatively? Okay. All right. Let's go back here. I think my screen went away. And as you're reflecting, thank you so much. I am going to reshare my screen because I think it went away. So let's try this again. Make sure that we have you up and sharing. And as you're reflecting in the back channel chat, share some creative strategies of your how and your why that you're using Post-its at this time. Okay, and I'm going to reshare my presentation with you. Interesting, where's it going? Okay. All right, oh, pixel art, that's wonderful, absolutely. Let's make sure that you can see my screen, teacher friends. All right. Some of you are using them to categorize information. You're using Notes as an app on your iPhone. Okay, excellent. Categorizing information to helping kids, almost like a graphic organizer, reminding messages and how students are using them, concerns. Absolutely, absolutely. Okay. Right. Thanks for sharing those ideas. I'm going to reshare my screen now so that you can see our presentation again. Okay. All right. If you're not seeing the presentation for some reason, if you could let me know, that would be great. For some reason, our technology wants to kick me out and then bring me back in, but I'm pretty sure you can see it now. Thanks everybody for helping with that. Okay, well, your creative ideas are really important because here's the reason why. The reason why the power of Post-its is so important is because an actual Post-it can free up all the processing that's taking place in your working memory. And really what working memory is, and here's that definition where it says the conscious processing and managing of information. It's required to carry out complex cognitive tasks such as learning, reasoning, and comprehension. And the more times that we're trying to use our brain to remember all of the time, that means that I don't have enough memory to complete other tasks. It can use up 50% of your working memory that if you're not using a Post-it. So for even me here today, teacher friends, to remind myself that I don't forget to when I record these sessions, I have a simple Post-it note. I stick it right to my computer so that I can remember it at the time. Otherwise, when you're setting up for a webinar, you've got so many things to take care of, making sure that your screen shares, making sure your audio works, and so on. But a Post-it also can help you with actually even getting ready in the morning for work or doing things. And especially when you're going to bed at night, if you write down things that you need to remember for the next day, write it down on a Post-it next to your bed or post it on your mirror in the morning. And then actually you can have a more restful night of sleeping. And the brain research has proven that that works. Now, I like to sleep, but I don't sleep enough sometimes. And sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night with a great idea. So I sleep in my bed, but I have a notebook and a pen next to my bed. So when an idea comes to fruition in the middle of the night, I actually jot that idea down, and then it frees up that memory and eases my brain to go back to bed at night. Now, I'm a kind of different individual because my brain's always going, but that's a strategy that's actually proven that can help you get better restful nights sleep. And actually, with the post-its on a mirror, can help you remember as your daily tasks in the morning. Okay, let's also talk about consistent routines. These consistent routines are important also for children. So the more that we model as educators, the more that our students will be empowered with a growth mindset that to utilize these strategies to help them as well. So consistent routines for children may include that we make sure that we have a healthy, balanced diet. We make sure that we get enough outdoor exercise or indoor exercise, that when we're ready to go to school, that we're organized and have everything packed up the night before. So this is my 6-year-old little granddaughter. So part of our creative schedule, when she has come to see us in the past, prior to the pandemic, they're a very active family. Health and diet is important. So part of their routine, they'd always take a walk. So what we did, we'd always go out and take a walk every day. And when we were in California at this time, we'd go out and take a walk, and we took them to like the winery, and we took a walk in between all of the beautiful grapes and vines so we could explore, enjoy nature, but still get our walk in. The same goes as she's got her little bag on her. It's a routine that she has to pack up her things before she goes to daycare. That's part of her responsibility. So she can do that the night before so she's ready to get going in the morning. So again, it's like a post-it note. Organization is key even the night before so you have more of a relaxed morning to complete those tasks. Now, here's a few other things that I'd like to share with you. This is, if you haven't used already, within the Microsoft suite, there are so many essential tools that can really help you with prioritization, and also detailed information to streamline your tasks. What I like about Microsoft Calendar is like even all of my dates that I am providing as presentations for Microsoft and Q, they go on my Microsoft Calendar. Yet at the same time, I can build in my own personal calendar for my family. So my family calendar comes in and overlaps in a different color. And so instead of me going out to 3 or 4 different calendar applications, I have one calendar that I can see my work, I can see my family commitments, and then I can see any reminders that come up. I also like it because I can also utilize my calendar right in Teams, so it's a streamlined communication process to help me stay organized. I can also set gentle alarms, such as charms, they're called, and a charm setting can gently remind me with a tone of knowing when I have an activity or when I have an appointment, and I can set the different tones according to my family time and according to my work time. So that's really why I like my Microsoft Calendar. Now, some other things to think about. How about Microsoft Forms? How many of you are using Forms, right? Forms can be used for work, but also family. So we use Forms a lot when I'm planning with my family that if, let's say, we're going to go on a camping trip or a hiking trip or just an outing that we can meet with them. And hopefully that'll happen sooner than later again. But I'll create a form so that when we're going to have a family dinner or a family lunch, I actually have everybody sign up what they'd like to bring by their own choice. Then we create a beautiful, balanced, healthy meal for our family. It's really creative. Sometimes my kids think, oh my gosh, you're an over-detailed planner. Yet the communication is more clear. That's why I do it. But Microsoft Forms is an amazing way to connect with families. Families meaning getting initial feedback, just even checking in on the social emotional well-being of your students, interacting with an activity, doing a Likert scale or a ranking activity to having kids with choice. So lots of different ways that you can use forms to organize and detailed information. The last thing that I'd like to share with you here, but the Microsoft Drive, if you haven't used it, this is better than chocolate. And why I say it's better than chocolate is because everything lands in one little hub. And again, so you can see off to the left side, I can see all my presentation files. I can see all the files that my teachers have shared with me, but I also can see my other drive that my family drive has. So I can keep those separate, but also have access in one portal. That's why I like it. I can instantly see as well that all the presentations that I've done for Microsoft and Q allows for me to see what type of file size it is, when I modified it, and how it's shared. Is it private or is it shared with the community of learners? So that's what I like about it as well. Now, here's a few other bits of information that I'd like to share with you. If you haven't used a communication app, this is what you do need to add. I use Voxer, which is a free walkie-talkie app. I use it for family, but I also use it for my community of learners with educators. Voxer works just like a walkie-talkie. So you can download it on your mobile device. Then with that, you basically press a button and you talk to record your message, and then you can send it to a teacher friend or a family member, and they can listen to it in real time or after the fact. We have used Voxer as a book study for teachers. So even over this pandemic, find a favorite book that you and your teacher teammates would love to read and have a book study on it. And actually, you can do a jigsaw with this activity. And it's a beautiful way to enjoy a book and then talk about it by socially interacting with your friends. Here's some more ideas if you haven't used this before. Not only can Voxer provide audio, it can provide text messages. It can provide also that you can add pictures and you can add videos. So it can become quite intuitive and really interactive. You can create a private group chat, or you can do just single messages to and from. So I use this when I communicate with my women leaders that we have a women leadership group. I can pose a question. They in real time can respond to me within a matter of seconds. And it doesn't clog up my email. That's what I like about it. It's just using that app for a purposeful communication and collaboration tool. Now, there are Voxer group messaging strategies too. So if you haven't seen this, there's Voxer groups that you can be a part of, that if you want to be part of a book study, if you want to learn something more about Microsoft Office Suite, if you want to learn more about a particular strategy for, let's say, video instruction on Flipgrid, there's all kinds of different groups that are out there. And what the best thing is, it's a global initiative. So you could connect with teachers just like we are here today in the United States and all of our continents. That's the beauty of it. So for an instant, ISTE, which stands for the International Society for Tech and Education, has their annual conference. But we have a Voxer group that's set up that if you cannot go to the national conference, that if you follow the hashtag through Voxer, you can get all the added insight to learn new ideas and techniques and strategies globally. That's the beauty of this. So at this time in your back channel chat, could you share with me, have any of you used a communication app like Voxer or the strategies I mentioned about Microsoft, from Forms to Calendar to OneDrive, to stay communicative with family and teacher friends? So take just a minute just to reflect. I'd like to see what you're sharing at this time, and I'm going to check in my back channel chat map here as well. So I'd like to have you converse. That would be great. Excellent. Some of you are also mentioning that you're using Forms for work. It's a perfect strategy, right? We get so much data coming at us. We've got to find a better way to process that so we're not so overwhelmed. Absolutely. Oh, I've got some teachers. I believe it's Mary. She's back on. She loves Voxer. Absolutely. So if this is Mary from Texas, I could connect with her online, and then we can have an instant conversation about best practices to support teachers when it comes to educational technology. And absolutely, Slack is a great learning tool. Yes. And if you haven't used Teams, Teams is brilliant too to use because it's all in one place that you can use that, and it works on your mobile device. Absolutely. These are some great ideas you have coming in, teacher friends. Thanks for sharing. Okay, wonderful. Okay, here's a few more things I wanted to share with you. You know, I hear a lot of teachers when I work with them, they say time is always the problem. I don't have enough time. My day is so full. I don't have time to do this. I don't have time to do that. But sometimes we use time as the word as an excuse. We need to prioritize time. And when I say prioritize time, when you prioritize, all the important stuff gets done. And that is very, very true. That is meaning that when we prioritize, we find purpose and a meaningful connection of why we can find time for one task over another. Sometimes when we are required to do something by a school district, we kind of don't find time. But we've got to find the positivity in why is that task important that our administrative leaders are asking us. So always try to find the purpose, find a positive outcome, and best yet, prioritize with a teacher friend because two brains are better than one. When learning something new, you don't have to be so isolated. Bring a teacher on board and communicate together and figure it out that way instead of always struggling by yourself. Then you will find time will not be a barrier because collaboration is key here, that we need to prioritize to say, I need to work with an individual so that we can twice as fast find and strategize how to find something out or to understand it better and then to put it into place. But another thing, teacher friends, you need to find purpose for yourselves. You have to put yourselves first. And that also takes time. You have to discover the unique individual you. You know, when you think about our profession, we went into our profession for a purpose and a reason. There may have been a mentoring influence that really resonated with us, that we thought we too could inspire children to do more, and you wanted to be that positivity to influence them. Or maybe you had a parent or a grandparent that was an influence, but you too internally chose the career of being an educator to improve the lives of others. And because of that, we've got to find that purpose again and find your passion. And that passion should resonate now, that even if you've been in the teaching world for 10, 15, 20, 30 years, that passion of your influence should still come through in everything that you do. If you've lost that passion, please take a step back, put yourself first, and really do some deep thinking, but also reflection, and find one or two things that really inspire you now, that align to your passion, and have that come out in your teaching practice. And tell your story. Tell your story to your students. They want to know why. They want to know why you're so passionate about something. And kids are very passionate about a lot of things, and they need to find their why. The more you share personal stories, the more connected in the relationships that you will build with them, and the more purposeful and empathy-based will your classroom represent to understand that they too have a meaningful value in their classroom. This is how I start my morning. This is a strategy I use. I'm a very positive person, but there's times that life gets me down too. And because of that, I always start my day with gratitude. So you heard one of my strategies earlier. Gratitude moments. I reflect on my learning. I kind of target my action steps to make it through my day. But then at the same time, I want to be pumped up and inspired. So I go out to TED, which is TED Talks, and I find a video clip that is labeled with inspiration, positivity, influence, or maybe women in leadership. And I find a 3, 5, or 7-minute video clip that I watch. I actively listen to understand, and then I reflect on the purpose of that video clip. And it basically kind of infiltrates my frontal lobe of my brain. And then I purposely reflect on my gratitude moments to take that gratitude moment of learning, and then it transfers to my back quadrant on my brain to put into my long-term working memory to help me with designing and creating new content that is basically research worthy. That's why I do that. This really helps me with my mindset in the morning, helps me find purpose and passion, but at the same time, fills my heart with gratitude, knowing that I'm learning from someone else that is research worthy, but at the same time, too, I'm spreading the good word to help others find their purpose. Now, again, bringing this all back together, happiness. Happiness is where our inner selves are that we need to put first. We also need to be happy with ourselves in order to portray happiness in everything that we do. We have to find balance with that. We also need to find different ways of how to really ease the technology turbulence. Too many times there is too much tech that overwhelms us, and then we just give up because we don't have anyone to confide in, to talk with, or to change that momentum of when that stress hits us. We don't know how to calm ourselves with those techniques. So, because of that, we need to find a better reason of how to have an outlet for our stress, but also to focus of how to find balance in our lives. We need to find the purpose and our calling in life and our joy for teaching and our joy to represent our best selves every single day, no matter what. And when we're not representing our best selves, we need to know how to be in control of ourselves, to take a moment back and just step back and say, oh, that's what's not working. Or, oh, I need to do this instead. Or I need to maybe practice a different type of breathing technique to help calm myself before moving forward, to making sure I'm using the best choice words to express myself. Because sometimes when we're so stressful, we use words that probably aren't the best, that send a tone or a message that actually can send a negative connotation. And we don't want that to happen in our workplace environment or within our family members. Practice makes permanent is what I say. It's not practice makes perfect. Practice makes permanent. So in order to find a healthy work-life balance, we have to continue practicing at it. Those consistent routines, that organization, that detail. We have to continue to practice to make those habits of mine permanent with our family and within our schools. I also wanted to share with you, I mentioned gratitude earlier. I have a gratitude journal as well for you, and the gratitude journal will allow for you to focus on life's moments in learning, and I call them peaks and valleys. And that's kind of a term that I've picked up from my master's degree in professional development that we've used a lot with reflection. But moments in learning can just be small tidbits of information throughout your day. Remember, we talked about small, snackable content chunks? It's the same way with reflection. We should be reflecting at least 3 times a day, even if it's on a quick write or a post-it note, just something to connect those moments of positivity. But also when you've been challenged, it's important to write those down too, and documenting how you overcame that challenge. That's what's important. If you can open each morning with a morning of gratitude moments and then close out your day of a gratitude moment, you will be a more calm and relaxed and at ease individual because you're representing your best self, and you'll have more time and energy to give back to your family, but then also a more creative self to give back to your teaching workplace environment, to make a difference with your students who really need you, and also your administration staff who really need you too, to be the influence that you are. So I want you to try something new in 2020. I know we're halfway through this, but even just one thing we shared today, one thing is enough. You don't have to do it all. What's one mind-changing moment that you can best represent yourself to project positivity and to change your growth mindset? So just choose one thing, and that's going to help you really to celebrate your work-life balance, and it's going to be reflective of your new story and helping us getting through this pandemic. So I want to thank you so much for the time and the opportunity to present with you today, and also that you can continually always connect with me. I want to make sure that we have the opportunity to continue this conversation, and I'm going to unshare this in a moment. And if you'd like to have some real life questions, we can go back and forth on. And I also want to make sure that you have the essential links, that if you're looking into more of this research-based strategies that I've shared today, that you have the appropriate links that you can further investigate at the same time. But once again, my presentation slide deck, if you joined us after the fact, is bit.ly, which is bit.ly/work-life-tech-balance. And my contact information is my email is just naomi@naomiharm.org. And my Twitter handle is @naomiharm. And so we can continue this conversation. I'm going to stop sharing my presentation so I can come back over to you so I can see all of your beautiful faces again. But if you like at this time, you're more than free to turn on your microphone if you'd like. If you have a question that we can continue the conversation, because I'd like to be here to support your genuine efforts today, teacher friends. Okay. And thank you so much. We have a teacher that shared also the why video. That's a brilliant video. Oh, it's very centering. I love it too. So thank you for sharing that in the back channel chat. Yes, a TED Talk, it really does. It's such an inspirational moment to really build you up as a teacher. It really does that. Yep, and take care of yourself is right. Okay, absolutely. Okay. Hi, Monique, how are you? Or your middle name is Monique, maybe. I don't hear you. If you want to turn on your microphone. Yeah.
Sorry about that. I didn't unmute.
Yes.
But yes, Naomi, my middle name is Monique.
Oh, Monique.
Mary.
It's Mary. Okay, wonderful. Yeah.
So good to see you again.
Yes. It's wonderful to see you as well. And I'm sorry we had a few technology hiccups and bumps this morning. So, you know, it happens, but when we model it and work through it, so all teacher friends know, it happens to all of us. But it's how we handle that situation. Yes.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you. I always say to my team that technology works great when it works.
That is so true, isn't it? But we always have to be prepared for the unknown. Absolutely. And yes, exactly. Absolutely. Okay.
So thank you again.
Yeah, thank you, Mary. It's nice to see you online today. Okay.
Yes. All wonderful. Right. Bye-bye.
Bye. Teacher friends, if there's anyone else that would like to have a conversation, would love to share that with you at this time. Any ideas that you'd like to bounce off of me that I could be supportive of you? Not a problem either.